Hello, and welcome to the Trivia Podcast, where the good facts get rewarded but the lies get punished. This is What's the Fact? Wait, I didn't say, but will we catch the lie? Let's
Say
pretend
it.
I said. Let's pretend I said it.
Yes, but the answer is no. We won't catch the lies that easily. Mind you, this guy's developing weird psychobabble techniques,
You say that.
ultra
but-
analysis.
You say that, but I feel like ever since you started saying that, it's gone away, and you just keep crushing me.
Yeah, but you're being helped by people like Michelle, who watch Ryan when he does the multiple choice, because he does a weird thing on the one that is the answer.
Yeah.
Or is it the Babel fish?
See, that's Ryan Whittle, and this is Warren Robertson. I'll do Ryan's job
yes,
for him. It's
names.
fine.
Sorry,
it's
sorry,
fine. I'll do
names.
Ryan's job for him.
Funny, speaking of names.
Ah!
Look at
Oh,
me.
so professional.
Look at me.
So professional.
Yes, anyway, cheers with your Stella Artois.
Yes. So speaking of names,
Names.
yeah, one name in particular, Dietz. He can fuck right off. Because our topic for this week is names of places. So names of places. So please don't tune off
Facts about names of places.
because it sounds like a terrible, terrible topic. And it was very hard to research, but I have come up with some amazing stories.
Like, he gave us an example, like, Deets, what do you mean? Then he gave us the example.
Yeah, we're like, Dietz, listen, we got to do a whole podcast on this. Then he's like, oh no, there's this one place that's named after a local shop. And that's an excellent topic, Dietz. Thanks very much. Thanks for tipping us off. That'll fill a good
Do you know the place?
30 seconds.
Fitas. Do you know the
Fetus.
place?
No, I don't know Fetus.
It's in Joburg, but it's in, I think it's, where's the hospital where they take the criminals? It's a private hospital. Garden City? Mayfair?
Isn't Garden City a shopping mall here in Cape Town?
No, that's Gardens.
Oh, I see.
No, Garden City is a shop. Is
Yeah,
a
it's
hospital.
a nursery where they sell, all things got.
All the criminals get taken to a private hospital in Joburg if you get
Oh, I
arrested.
see.
So in my medical observation days when I was trying to be a physio, then you have to go observe professionals in a hospital. And then I was in Garden City's trauma vibe for a while, and then it's a known fact that if a criminal gets shot and then they get put in the ambulance, they get taken to Garden City.
Okay.
Back then, this was like the late 90s, and so there's an oak who was shot by the cops who's attempted hijacking, and then he's in there and he's all it's ICU, boop boop, and he's like blood transfusion, and then the nurses. I'm observing. I'm just standing in the corner observing because I want to get into Wits, and then the two nurses are talking. What's he in for? Oh no, he he was shopping. Oh, was he shopping? Yeah, but he didn't have any money. That's near Fitas.
I did so that's not, they don't only go to gardens, because I did an interview with a guy who stole a Pierneef painting from the SABC. When I worked as a journalist, I went to Baragwana to go and do an interview with him.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was a bit of a character, and by that I mean entirely insane. He he went for a
But
meeting.
was he injured in the?
No. He'd gotten sick. He'd gone to
Oh,
jail,
okay.
and then he'd gotten sick.
No,
and
this
he
is
got-
an emergency injury. Boom.
Oh, I see. No,
Yeah.
this he'd gotten sick while he was already in prison, and then he thought that while he was sick and he was in Barra would be a good chance to get his story out, because nobody would come to the prison to interview him. So then he contacted me. He said, "Listen, I'm in Barra. There's a guard, but I've spoken to him. He says it's cool if you come and you interview me." And then of course I did. And this dude, he walked into the SABC there for a meeting. They had a Pierneef hanging on the wall, and he cut it out of the frame, rolled it up, put it in his pants, and walked out. Because he thought to himself, "Wow, that's a Pierneef. I'll sell it for a fortune." But he didn't know, because he's like a moron, is that you can't just steal an internationally famous painting, because you can't just sell it. No one's going to buy a stolen artwork from you.
Not even from the SABC.
Yeah, so then he cut a little piece out of it, and he tried to sell the little piece as like an original work, and that didn't work. Anyway, he's in jail. He's probably still in jail. Speaking of original artworks, you may have noticed that our Mona Lisa is back.
Hey, isn't she
Yeah.
lovely?
Yeah, she wasn't here. She wasn't here for a few episodes because Barden came and took her away.
Yeah.
Standard Bank were pissed off that we don't pay the monthly thing, because we
Yeah.
don't have we don't have 60 million rand a month to pay the monthly installments.
Yeah.
So Barend came when we weren't here,
Yeah.
luckily, because otherwise he would have murdered us.
Yeah.
And then he took this away, and then they
Yeah.
tried to auction it last weekend in Belleville. And they auctioned it out the back of a pawn shop. And we went and we bought it back, didn't we?
Brilliant. Yes, we've we've signed a promise to pay for the auction amount as well.
Which
So-
is
So I think installment has just doubled.
yeah, because we paid 640 million, a bargain, on auction. Got $20 million off. So we paid 640 million as a bargain, but then we also owe the 660 million from
Yes,
before.
yes, but I've made a promise to pay to the lawyers who keep calling me.
Okay.
It's Mpofu and Gupta Associates.
Uh-huh.
And if you just promise to, you just say, yeah, I promise to pay. You
Then
make a
the-
promise. It's called a
There's not, then
promise
they
to-
can't do anything about it.
I promise to pay. What? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, listen, I'm getting some money in soon, end of the month.
Yeah.
It's my birthday on the 1st of April, and my aunt has said she's going to give me some cash. Like, if you don't mind.
They're actually right there. His aunt is giving him money.
Yeah,
for
his
his
aunt's
birthday.
giving him some cash. So anyway, she's back for now. We'll see. Fuck, we must
She's
do
lovely.
place names, facts.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Ryan.
shucks. Let me.
This is
let
what
me
people
start.
are here for.
The other thing is like you get Fitas, right, which is named after the shop. But imagine the poor lady named Letta,
Hmm? Where are you going with this?
Muraleta Park. That was a shame.
Ryan,
that
no,
for?
it's International Women's Day,
okay,
or at least
sorry.
it was recently. Yeah.
Okay, so Can I start?
Yeah, you
So
can start.
you know the lovely story about. We're talking. I said Muraleta Park. That's in. Or Muraleta Park is the English there. Call it Muraleta Park.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Muraleta Park, but the English who live in Pretoria is Muraleta Park.
I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, he was like
What's
Pretoria
wrong with
vibes.
English people? Why do they live there? They live in Irene, don't they?
Yes.
All of them.
Then they go to Muraleta Park.
All the English people, they live in Irene and they go to Muraleta.
Yes, I think there's a lovely shopping centre there with cattle and barren. Anyways, but a little bit north of Pretoria, I don't know how far north, a little bit of a drive, was Nailstrom.
Uh-huh.
And do you know the hysterical story about why it's called Nailstrom?
No, I know nothing about Nelson.
Well, the Foot Trackers, it was 1931. But in 1966, there was a Holy Land bunch who were they were going to track to the Holy Land. To the Holy Land.
So they're going to trek all the way to Israel, like
yeah,
up
to
through
Jerusalem.
Africa.
Yeah. And then, so they like half a day outside Pretoria. They're like,
Did they start from Pretoria?
well, I don't know.
Okay.
But it was a bunch of foot trackers called the Holy Land Trackers.
okay.
They're half a day outside Pretoria. They hit a river and they're like, fuck Owens. Just the fucking nail. It's the Nile River.
Oh, I see.
And that's why it's called Nailstrom.
I thought that they called it Nailstrom because they fucking they nailed someone. I thought that's where you were going with
No,
that.
and what's big, really fucking hysterical is it's now called Modimole, but there's this hill which is shaped in a sort of a cone, and they thought it was one of the pyramids. And here's my fact. Now my fact is coming up
Okay,
now.
because
Here's
it's a
my
place.
fact.
It's the whole episode's about place names.
Yeah.
Right? So,
So Modimole, it turns out, was always what the local indigenous folk who were Sotho and Tswana, Modimole, they called that so-called pyramid type hill Modimole, which means tombstone. In any case, so that's my fact.
hang on, because I know the comedian Ronnie Modimole.
Yes.
So you're saying his name is Ronnie Tombstone?
Yeah,
Like some sort of TV character, like he's like a WWE
Ronnie
wrestler.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ronnie
So
Tombstone. that's amazing.
Ronnie's got still got a land claim in Modi. Well, he's Ronnie Modimola, and his land claim is Modimole, and he's still fighting it because while he's it's very dodgy because while they fighting about whose land it is and his ancestral claim and chiefdom and stuff, they're busy building shopping centers on that land.
It'll be
So-
nice for him when he gets free shopping centers, won't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So,
but that's, South African place names generally tend to give this stuff away quite a lot, right? Like, it's pretty obvious Modimole belongs to Modimole family,
yeah.
It's like, and then you see these places like, no, there was never any indigenous people living here at my farm called Kraalkop.
Yeah. What you got to see suspicious of is if you get oaks emerging like Julius Malema Landudna. If you start seeing
Oh,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, we want our land back. Oh.
Julius Landudno. Yeah. If anybody does want to give land away in Landudno, if you're out there and you're listening, maybe Elton John is too loud a neighbor. I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm here for you. If you
Has
want to
he
give
got a
land.
house there?
Yeah, he does in Landudno. He does. Anyway, so your fact is that
What do you
it
call it?
means tombstone. Yeah, why not? Let's say you started with a truth for once.
I mean, do I ever?
No,
No. No, it's a bit of a dickish thing. It's not tombstone, but they did seriously think that thing was a pyramid, and it does look like a sort of a triangular shaped hill. It's just a hill, but it means the gods of Eton.
Ah, all right.
Modimola means the gods of God is Eton,
That's an even cooler surname.
sure, or the spirit of our ancestors has eaten.
Ah, all
Yeah.
right. Well, there you go. All right. I mean, you started with a god-based fact, so I'll start with one as well.
Ooh,
So now humans have naturally named a lot of stuff, a lot of places after gods, right? Like you got Mumbai, which is named after the mother goddess Mumbadevi. Athens named after Athena. Dhaka named after the goddess Dakeshwari, which is obviously the capital of Bangladesh. Then Lyons, Leiden, Laon. So Lyons in France, Laon in France, Leiden in the Netherlands, Lugo in Spain. They all get their names from the Celtic god Lugus.
is
So
that a
these are-
fact? Or
yeah,
is
that's a fact. I'm just telling you these things. And then obviously like Pomona Road in Kempton Park.
yeah,
Yeah. It's named after the goddess of fruitful abundance in ancient Roman religion, Pomona. Yeah.
really.
So that's Pomona Road. And then that's funny to us because we used to do a gig there. We used to do a gig there at a place that the locals know as Rock Paradise.
Yeah, Rock Paradise.
And Rock Paradise is an extremely sketchy strip club. But yeah, like and everybody in the area calls it the Pomona Spur.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it turns out that Pomona is this goddess of fruitful abundance.
I
amazing.
love these irony stories.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Anyway, so that's nice. So that adds a little bit of romance to Kempton Park, though. So if you think Kempton Park is just nothing but trashy, no,
it's
it's
goddess.
like one of its main roads is named after like classic mythology.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Go Kempton.
yeah, exactly. That doesn't happen anywhere. And then of course all the planets are named after our gods. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, not all of them. 8 of them are named after gods.
Yeah.
7 of them, because there's now only 8
Oh,
planets.
shame.
Yeah, all Pluto got bumped. But now, so 7 of them are named after the gods, and of course the one that stands out is all Earth. We're not named after a god, but all the others are named after gods. But you know that Uranus wasn't named after a god initially.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Did you say it was named after?
It wasn't named after a god. So no. So Uranus was Zeus's grandfather. He was the husband and son of Gaia. You just hearing the words Uranus and then like a 5-year-old Uranus.
Yeah.
Like you're hearing that and then he was the famous father of the Titan Kronos, Uranus. But anyway, that wasn't the first name of that planet. Do you know what the first name of the planet was? This is just a fact. This isn't my fact yet. This is
Right.
just a fact. The first name of that planet was George. Yeah. I'm just
That's
gonna
bullshit right there.
No,
Is that your fact?
No, it's not my fact. That's
George.
a fact. Its first name was George. Or more accurately, it was called Georgium Sidus, which is the Georgian planet, because you see it was discovered by, by an astronomer called Herschel, King George, he discovered it and he decided to name it after King George. And then a German by the name of Johann Elert Bode said, no, this is a cock name. This is a scheisse name. We need to change this name. It needs to be a god like all the others. You British asshole. And so they changed it to Uranus, thus delighting all school children and Ryan Whittle for like all time. But anyway, that's a fact about Uranus. My fact is that they're absolutely, despite the fact that we call mountains and towns and planets and stuff after the gods, there's not a single country named after a god. That's my fact.
My word,
one,
what
yeah.
a fact. What a fact. What a fascinating fact. But I mean, the Georgian thing, one of the British monarchs, they started realizing, I'm having a time on this throne. I'm having a bit of an era. I've been on this throne for a while. going to start calling the whole era after me, Elizabethan and Victorian, because
You
George.
see, they didn't name it after
wow.
themselves though. But there's a lot of Georgian.
Georgian
Yeah, but there's a lot of Georgian because there were
architecture.
4 Georges in a row, right? There were like a bunch of them. Yeah.
So it's not the one dude.
No, it's not just Mad King George. He's the one. I think he's the second one. But there was a whole lot of them. Yeah.
Oh, so the Georgian, because it's a bit of an architecture thing as well. This is the Georgian
It's
style.
a Georgian period, yeah. But I mean, to be honest, they did. While you are on the throne, you do get a lot of stuff named after you. Think about Queen Victoria, right? You want
Yeah.
to talk about place names, like
Oh,
half
jeez.
of Australia is named after Queen Victoria. You know, Queensland, Victoria, the provinces. So 2 provinces
Yes.
in Australia are named after Queen Victoria.
Yeah, you got Victoria.
States.
Is there Victoria Island in the Canada as well?
Yeah, yeah. So
And
there's-
the falls and the lake in Africa.
right.
Yeah.
So South Africa, despite being part of the Commonwealth, we were quite like circumspect about it because I think we've got a street in Cape Town and one in Durban named after her, and then there's the V&A waterfront, and that was named after her much later after the whole Victorian period. So I don't know. It was, but yeah, my fact is that there are no countries named after a god.
Jeepers. Jeepers, that can't be true. There's 144 countries.
There's
And
way
so-
more than 144 countries, right?
There was always 100. It always used to be. Now there's more, hey?
No, I don't know where you got there used to be 144
I think
countries
it's the
from.
Bible.
Because there's always been like 200 and something countries.
So
Yeah, and it
that's,
depends. It depends which organization you're part of for how many there are. But there are more members of FIFA, for example, than there are of the UN. So FIFA recognizes more countries than the UN than the UN membership. But yeah, there you are.
fucking funny.
Yeah.
No, I think root words, you've got to be wrong. Root words, I think there are some gods, like even, the root word of Africa, I didn't even look it up or whether, I don't know. But you've got to be wrong. At some point, one of the countries must be named after a god. For sure.
So what would you say that this would be? Like an ancient god or a,
Yeah,
like
I
a
do.
Greek god or a
Yes,
Roman
yes.
god or a...
Or even an Aztec type of god. Mexico, like, is there not an Aztec-y kind of thing in there?
So Mexico is interesting. They don't really know where the name Mexico comes from. There's a
That's
couple
hysterical.
theories, but they don't really know, yeah.
It's hysterical. So I'm going to say you are lying, and I don't know, but I'm telling you some of them root words, they've got to be named after gods in some point, I think. And if not, why not? Over to...
I mean,
Over
so
to
you're
Waza.
right. I am lying,
Yes.
but not for the reason that you think. I'm lying because there is one country in the world named after a god.
Good Lord.
And that country is
Good Lord.
El Salvador, which means the savior means Jesus Christ. So
Hey!
that's the only god. That's the only god that has had a country named after them. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
El Salvador, is it Central America?
Yep.
Or is it an island in the Caribbean?
No,
Central
no,
America.
Central.
Okay. Costa Rica, El Salvador. Okay, sweet, man.
Yeah.
Well,
So I mean, you would have thought it would have been a Greek or Roman god. That maybe the Persians got a name in there somewhere along the line. Indians, Hindus.
sure.
You would have
Yeah,
thought so, but no, it's just old Jesus Christ.
All right.
The freshest God.
Yeah. Go.
know.
Jesus is my homie.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus is my homie. Yeah,
Well,
there you are.
I was going to do, you said George, and that I've got to, coming up later, here's a fact about the place, Georgia. But right now, because he said El Salvador, we'll stick to the
No,
Americas.
wait, so did you do the throw forward? You're like, there's going to be
Yeah.
a fact about Georgia.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's Georgia, like Atlanta, Georgia, or Georgia, the country, Georgia. Don't tell them. Make them wait until after the fucking 14th ad break that YouTube and Spotify keep putting in these things.
Yes. Are your lips dry? Use Vaseline intensive.
No, don't put more adverts in this. It bothers me so much that and YouTube are definitely going to ban us for this, but it bothers me so much that there are companies out there who know that YouTube sells their subscriptions by putting 100 million annoying adverts in every video. And then those companies are like, you know what we're going to be? We're going to be that annoyance. We're going to pay for the right to be that annoyance. Let's connect our brand with how pissed off people can possibly get at the thing.
Yeah, and some of the bigger sort of alternative media sort of vibes are having live reads in there. So you can't skip the ad because the dude.
Sure,
is
but that
doing-
makes sense, right? Because then the money's going to the actual creator,
Yeah,
the content
yeah.
creator. It's not going to YouTube.
Mm.
But YouTube literally has companies paying them so that they can be the irritation that YouTube uses to sell subscriptions. It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know who at your ad agency is telling you to buy that because they're insane. Stop doing that. Buy an advert on my forehead for a mere $660 million so that I can pay off warrant.
I'm going to go stick with the Americas. You said El
Okay,
Salvador.
alright,
That's
alright.
lovely.
Right.
So my facts around the names of Uruguay and Paraguay.
Okay.
Any idea? Or am I going to get you with this
Well,
one?
para means it's got no limbs.
So a cigarette from the 80s in Potch and with no limbs. A
Right.
guy. Hey, but we're going for a guy. Was it a...
You know that
was it
that is not a slang term I was familiar with at all.
a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have
So
thought
it's-
like
I don't think it's a joint. I think it's a cigarette. Oh, so you go for a guai.
that's insanity. I've never heard of that. Could you please tell Ryan he's
English-
crazy and he's making this up?
It's the English in Potch. It was definitely a
So
thing.
is that a real? Listen, if you've heard this
wasn't a
slang term,
smoker.
please put it in the podcast in the comments. Let me know because that sounds insane. And while you're about it, click share, like, etc., etc.
I'd just like to tell if Mr. Canova's watching, I was never a smoker.
Mr. Canova.
Bevan
That's not
Burning,
a name.
however.
His name was Mr. Nova, but you oaks pronounced the silent K. Fucking idiots.
No, Bev's a good oak. Sorry, I'm going to get murdered in the street by old boys. So Uruguay, Paraguay. Here's my fact. Paraguay means crown of feathers, and Uruguay means crown of water.
I mean, what you're claiming there is that the guay means crown, and that Ura means water,
Yeah.
right? And that para means feathers. The para sounds like a frog. I don't know. I think that's a false laugh that you did there, Ryan. I think it's a false laugh. I think you've decided you're going to finally tell a truism because it reflects poorly upon you as a Christian to lie just continuously.
So, so you're saying I'm telling the truth here?
I'm saying you're telling the truth.
I'm not really, eh? Sorry,
Jesus,
man.
fine.
Look, it comes from it's a native name, native to, is that word still okay? The indigenous people of South America, the Guarani.
Okay.
So those countries do border each other.
Yeah.
And Paraguay does in fact mean a feather crown of water.
Okay.
It's a bit weird. But Uruguay the river's called Uruguay. It's called the Rio Uruguay. Rio means river,
Yeah.
as in Rio Grande, and Rio de Janeiro.
So,
the river of
so
Jan-
the Rio must come from Spanish, right?
Yeah, but the Uruguay just means bird. That's the
Just means like.
yeah
Okay. Great.
Bird-
Good fact.
bird river.
Good fact.
Because Rio Uruguay means bird river.
People are going to take that to their party this weekend. Talk to people about like, these two countries mean this thing.
Yeah.
See what you've done to this podcast. dude.
Nice and neat. Paraguay, feather crown of water, and Uruguay, bird river.
All right.
And I thought it was going to be sleepy man and walking man. Something like neatly, but it's not. It's feather crown of waters, and then
He's still talking about it. It's insane.
bird river.
What am I watching here, Ryan? Am I watching a mental breakdown? Like, did you were just like, ooh, these two are very similar. People will be fascinated by this fact.
Yeah, I've always wondered my whole life, Uruguay, Paraguay. What the hell is that about?
I mean, it's exhausting sometimes. Sometimes it's exhausting. Like, honestly,
Coming up, where Georgia gets its name from. After this, from Warren.
no, it's not all like that. So, I went to Madagascar, right? And Madagascar's capital city is called Antananarivo,
Yeah, it's a lovely
which is
name.
like it's a delightful name. It really feels really like
You fly over it on the way to Seychelles.
okay,
yeah.
but it's the place of the most traffic I've ever been in my whole life. It's
Really?
Like, yeah, I think Lagos must watch out because
Seriously?
yeah, Antananarivo is coming for their traffic back.
Jeez.
but lovely to say, Antananarivo.
Mm.
So I was kind of intrigued by the name, and where the name comes from, Antananarivo, is just a number. Yeah, it just means the 1,000. Yeah.
Seriously, is
Yeah,
that your
that's
fact?
what it means. That's my fact. Yeah, yeah. I thought there'd be like, it's such a beautiful word. I thought there'd really be something to it, but like that's what it's called.
So I must tell you if you're telling the truth or not.
Truth or a lie. Yeah.
Antananarivo means the 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
The 1,000 lemurs.
1,000 lemurs. Yeah.
As you arrive in the port, there's 1,000 lemurs looking at you.
You know what's nice about Madagascar's, and by nice I mean horrifying in every way, by Madagascar's like natural wonders, is that depending on how old the website you read is, the number of lemurs on the island changes dramatically from the upper 400s down to the 200s in the more recent ones. They're like, lemurs, Madagascar is home to over 400 species of lemur. Madagascar is home to over 300 species of lemur. Madagascar is home to just under 300 species of lemur. You're like, oh, this is a horrifying thing that I'm reading in the travel brochures of this country. Oh, what a terrible message they're sending to the people of the world about the massacre of their indigenous population of animals. Yeah. Oh, it's ghastly, and it's all done in that tone. Oh, Madagascar is home to 75% of the world's chameleon species. Oh, Madagascar is home to 67% of the world's chameleon species. Ah. Heartbreaking.
I'm having a Gretchen moment now. How dare you? You've stolen my dreams and my lemurs of Madagascar.
Yeah, and lemurs are they're the best.
They are.
They're the
wonderful.
best. They're absolutely
like,
delightful.
It's like a whole island of nachappies. Well, it should have been a whole island.
Yeah, no, they're delightful, and they're very soft, very playful, very clever, and yet it seems Madagascans, I don't know what you're doing to your lemurs. Stop making lemur fur coats before it's too late.
Because the lemurs are saying, leave me alone.
Honestly, like it must be difficult as the tourism board. Maybe the tourism board is just going out and going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 200. There's like, there's 200 lemurs. 200 lemurs in our local national park. Come and visit.
There's two acts from Nuatuk be made in charge. They won a contract for Madagascar's marketing and social media posts. Sweet. Yeah, no, this is cool. There's lemurs, yeah. The Fusa.
It depends how much peyote they've smoked as to how many of them they can see. But yeah. Anyway, so Antananarivo means the 1,000. That's what it means.
Oh man, what a lovely word. I'm gonna say that it does. I'm curious to know the 1,000 what, but I'm gonna say yes, it does mean the 1,000.
All right. Let me tell you a story. So prior to colonialism, which basically fucking ruined everything, Madagascar was for hundreds of years run by the Merina Kingdom. For the most of it was covered by the Merina Kingdom, and the Merina Kingdom was a kingdom that ran from 1540 to 1896, 97, somewhere around there. When the old colonialism kicked in, and what they were is the pre-colonial state that started in the Central Highlands and slowly started spreading out, and it happened at a time when they had a very dominant king, who was actually he was like the younger son of his father, but he was a tactical military genius, and his name, I've written it down somewhere because I must get it right. Yeah, let me see if I can. Here. His name was Andrea Njaka, and he ruled over the Merina Kingdom from 1612 to 1630, and he was this like tactical genius, and he started taking more and more and more land, and he began to kind of unify all these small tribes and kind of conquer and make Madagascar into a single entity. And at one point, what he did was he wanted to take the high ground, which was a hill called Analamanga. And Analamanga was the high point of a particular area, but it belonged to the Vazimba king. So what he did was he put together one of the biggest armies ever seen at the time, which happened to be, apocryphally, 1,000 men. And he told the 1,000 men to just go and stand around the base of this hill and claim it for him. and apparently this army was large enough that the Vizimba basically immediately capitulated to him, handing over their land. The Vizimba were the locals. They were said to be the first original inhabitants of Madagascar. They capitulated to him. They handed the thing over, and in honor of the 1,000 who stood at the base of this hill, he built a fort on top of the hill, and named it Antananarivo, which became the local area which he started developing. He made royal tombs there. He made palaces. He started really upping the amount of agriculture that happened there. So he started planting plenty of rice. If you go to Madagascar,
Really?
there's rice paddies all around Antananarivo, even today. So yeah, and effectively that Antananarivo then became the biggest town, which slowly grew into the capital, which grew into the capital of Madagascar as it is today, and that particular Marina kingdom only came to an end, as I say, in 1896 when the French invaded. The last Marina sovereign was called Queen Ranavalona III. She gave up her throne at the age of 22 in 1896, following the Franco-Hova War between the
Really?
French and the Madagascans.
So it
yeah.
was that late, eh?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there's the South African War is kind of early 1900s, late 1800s.
So
Yeah,
the
it was
British were busy, and the
Yeah.
French were.
Yeah, and the French were equally busy. They were all grabbing land everywhere, like it all belonged to them. But yeah, so that was when that end came up. But even today, if you go to Antananarivo, about a quarter of the population is Marina. So it's still a lot of the local population, but they've had a lot of immigration from all over the centuries. They've had people coming from Arab traders and people from the mainland Africa, and so it's quite a mixed population group there. But
And a person
and also
from-
obviously they had a lot of different types of people living on the island prior to the marina, basically.
And person from Madagascar is called the Malagasy.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what they call them now. Yeah.
So did you
But they
go
were-
there?
So I have been there. It's such an interesting country. I actually
Why did you go there?
How?
No, why?
Oh, to see lemurs. I was
Really?
yeah, Madagascar's an interesting country.
I'm
And
sure.
like one of the things is up north, there's really good snorkeling, so you'll love it. Really good snorkeling, really good scuba diving, and the people are really nice and very friendly. I mean, the country's poor,
Yeah,
it's very,
yeah.
very poor. But you go there and the national parks are gorgeous and original. There's things you'll see there that you don't see anywhere else.
Jeez.
And animals that you can see there in the wild that you literally can't see anywhere else. So,
Wow.
so yeah, there are over 200 different species of lemur in Madagascar. But well worth going. Difficult to get around. We missed an internal flight because a trip that had taken us 2 hours on the first day when we arrived took 6 hours to get to the airport on the way back because of the traffic. And we missed the flight and had to wait for the evening flight.
Jeez.
But yeah, so it's leave yourself lots of time to travel around
Yeah.
Antananarivo. But otherwise, yeah, well worth it. Very good.
Yeah,
country.
the first Daniel Craig James Bond, that opening scene is in Madagascar. In Antananarivo. That skyscraping, when he jumped from that parkour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Madagascar.
Yeah, there's a movie called Madagascar.
And two, which
There's
doesn't
two
take
there.
place.
No,
on
which doesn't take
Madagascar.
place in Madagascar. It takes place in Kenya, I
Should have been
think.
called Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, good fact.
So that's a lovely. You had a fact about a place with a name with an M, Madagascar, and my next fact is also about a place whose name is with an M.
Find out after YouTube inserts some random adverts right now. Watch an advert, the Stay Soft commercial.
Yeah.
That is the worst commercial. Whoever wrote that, you're terrible. I hate you. Take it off the air. It's
Yeah.
been going for a year now. It makes me hate myself when I see it.
There's a girl who does voiceovers, but she's very super excited about things that you shouldn't really be that excited
Yeah.
about. Get life insurance for only, then she does another one. Specsavers for only 300. Get fabulous news.
Madagascar should hire her for the lemur
There's
commercial.
only 200 lemurs.
There are 12 different kinds of lemurs left in Madagascar, and
No.
each of them is delicious and prepared in its own way. Why does she get on your nerves?
It's like, don't be so happy.
Don't be so happy. No, but she goes there. She's hungover. Oh, Specsavers. And then the producer's like, can we get a bit more? Can we get a bit more happiness? Yeah, there's Specsavers. It's pretty nice. No. We need you to up the energy on this one. Just let's run it again. Just really give it the. I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm only being paid $600
That's when
to
you
do
like
this thing. Yeah.
with the poor voice artist in the sound booth.
Yeah.
And they're watching through the screens like, am I doing it? And the producer's like, fuck this, I'm going in. And he walks out, oh fuck, he's coming in. Do it again, this time with feeling. It's like,
I like the ones you do, the voiceovers you do when sitting in the booth with the sound engineer, the client themselves.
oh shit.
Did you like it? No, we want more
God.
enthusiasm, and that's what happens to that woman. She goes to these things, and then Specsavers, the client, is sitting there, and they're like, no, I don't think this voiceover artist you've hired understands just how exciting Specsavers is. This is our annual summer sale, up to 20% off.
She's like, so she's being as happy as she can be, but she's crying on the inside.
Yeah, oh,
she's absolutely
definitely.
crying.
Definitely, if that was my job, I'd also be crying. All right, so you have a place name that begins with an M.
Yes, and
that
it's-
isn't Madagascar. What could
No,
it possibly be?
It even sounds similar to Madagascar.
Oh, does it?
Not as long, but almost.
What is it? What
Called
could it be?
Macassar. Macassar?
It does sound quite like Madagascar.
Yeah. Do you know where it is?
No,
Stop it.
no. Where is it?
It's down the road from me in
Really?
my new house.
That's
Flats.
amazing. I've only just recently moved to Cape Town, right? I don't know where anything is. People will say to me, oh, we're going to Deep River this weekend, and I'll be like, where's? And they'll be like, it's like a kilometer from your house.
So my fact is this. Deep River. Deep River has got 4 ways that Cape Townians spell it on their street signs.
Oh, really?
Deep River, that's totally English. Then there's Deep Rivier, English.
And
deep.
then Deep River,
Exactly.
and then
Deep
totally
Rivier.
Afrikaans.
Yeah.
I think it should be totally Afrikaans. I always say Deep Rivier, but that's probably because I come from Gauteng.
Cool. So are you ready about this exciting fact? Makassar, which is close to me, is named after a place in Indonesia. And that is my fact. Then I'll let
That's
you
your fact.
I'll let you think about it, then I'll tell you more
All
about
right.
it.
No, I hope so. I hope there's a bit of a story here.
Mm.
Yeah, it can be named after a place in Indonesia. A lot of Indonesian slaves were brought to South Africa and worked in the Cape. So yeah, I can believe that an area in Cape Town is named after Indonesia. Sure.
All right. Well, let me try and tell you the story as best I can.
Okay.
Fudge my way through the facts. But indeed, you're right. It is named after a place in Indonesia because the Dutch and the British were the East India Company. They were doing their thing in the East, and
And by their thing, what you mean is plundering. They were plundering. They were all plundering.
Yeah.
But we just call it their thing rather than saying outright they were plundering.
yes.
Yeah.
And there was an Indonesian named Abadin Tadia Chusup. He was born in 1623. And he was commonly known as Sheikh Yusuf. And he went on around about in the 1660s, went on the Hajj to Mecca from Indonesia. He was about to return, and he found out that the Dutch had conquered his Makassar in Indonesia, where he was from. And so he kind of stayed in Java, and then married a prince's daughter, and then the Dutch East India Company came in and kind of chose sides, and they got the son. So his kind of brother-in-law, they got him to try and overthrow his own dad. Bad shit that they did, hey? And he kind of tried to escape from the Dutch, but eventually he was a royal, and the Dutch thought he was going to cause trouble, so they exiled him to one of their other colonies in the Cape of Good Hope. And he came on a boat. It's even got a Dutch name, which you can put in
under
and they put him on a.
the pantoffel.
He was. I've got what's the name of the
I'm
bloody
just
boat?
making up names.
So he was received. I don't have the name of the boat. The Voetboeg. promise you. Voetboeg was the name of the ship.
That's somebody who's named so many ships he doesn't give a fuck anymore, you know?
And-
And you're like, yeah, this one I'm calling it the vitamin C. This one's the Mary after my wife. This one's named after my daughter, and this one's my daughter, and this one's my daughter. This one's after my friend Larry. This one's after the business that I own over there. This one's after my farm.
They got
I'm so tired.
The Dutch
Voetboeg.
were conquering at such a rate that they got so bored with naming things. There's a wine farm near Stellenbosch called Vane London. They're just tired. What's it in? Yeah, it's fucking Vane London.
Voetboeg sounds like something you'd look up on
They're
Pornhub.
so tired. It sounds like a weird sport.
Really into Voetboeg.
Yeah, you play football. Yeah, I love football.
Yeah, me and all my mates go on the weekend, we play football. And then we put it on Pornhub.
And the first river they got to after leaving Cape Town or exploring was the first river that they got to. So what are they going to call it? Fucking Eersterivier.
Oh,
It's the Eersterivier. It's then.
yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways, so yeah, the Voetboeg. So he's a troublemaker. We don't want him. He's a noble. He's got wealth. He could cause an uprising. We'll send him to the Cape of Good Hope. He's Muslim. So he had 2 wives, a few concubines, a few children and friends, about 40 people all in all. He's received by the governor of the Cape at that time, Simon van der Stel,
Yeah.
Stellenbosch.
Infamous.
Stellenbosch, yeah. And he was like, we don't want the slaves that we've brought over to be influenced by him because he's a Muslim. So we'll put him on the farm called Soetvlei or something. I probably got Zandvliet. Look at me making up my own names.
No.
Zandvliet,
Right.
which is in the Macassar area, which is next to the sea by Strand, Somerset West. And that's where they put him. But word got out and the slaves made sort of pilgrimages to him. And it's a triumphant story for the South African Muslim community. Because it's because of him that the spread of Islam grew in South Africa. And there's a shrine to him, and he died in 1699. And there's a shrine to him in Macassar, and it was named after the place he was from, Macassar in Indonesia. So Macassar, population of about 40,000 people. They're next to, on the other side of the road, the N2 from Somerset West. And the shrine is still there, and we should all go visit it.
That may be my favorite fact you've ever come up with because it's a story I've never heard before.
Really?
And yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, really good.
Sheikh Yusuf,
Yeah,
eh?
there you are.
Yeah, and the Muslims, they, especially the Cape ones, South African ones who know about it, they often make a little visit
I'm
there,
beginning to feel
pilgrimage.
bad for making so much fun of Deets for choosing this as a topic name now because you've made this legit. You've gone and you found an amazing
nice
fact.
one,
Yeah,
man.
that's a good one. It's
Okay,
a good
so-
one, Ryan.
Yay!
Nice. Yeah. Good. Let me find one that I can do that's worse than that. I might as well go with a really significant one. Have you ever driven north out of Cape Town on the N7 towards the Makwaland?
The furthest I've gone is Langebaan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, if you carry on along that road, the N7 out in the Makwaland, you will pass a sign pointing off to a place called Douse the Glim. 3 words. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So my fact is that it was named after a slave who was chased out there. His name was Glimmerhans, and they used to call him the Glim, and that's they used and that's like it was the place that he actually escaped to and where he lived, and that's what it's named after. So if you're driving on the N7 North, that's my fact.
Douse, was that his first name, or is that what you got to do to him?
No, I don't know whether that's like the house of, so it's like a kind of a mess up of the house of, but yeah, De Glim became the Glim. Yeah.
I mean, no, the first thing that came to mind when you said Douse the Glim, it sounded like an old. It's also like an old Scottish Highland tradition. Tonight we're gonna douse the Glim, yay! And let's throw it down the hill and chase it.
It's like when you throw your youngest daughter in the fog.
Hey, we played
Yeah.
Dose the Glim against the Clan MacLeod. All right, Dose the Glim, Dose the Glim.
You're right. It does sound Scottish. Yeah.
But it's also like, then I was thinking, imagine you've made so much money and you don't care anymore, and all you want to do is disappear into obscurity, that you go and name a village after yourself and just live there. And, sounds like a great life. Douse the Glim. Okay, so
I mean, it's less
named
of a
after-
village than it is really a kind of extended farmstead.
I see.
It's really like it's a tiny place.
But it's named after a runaway slave
Yeah.
who ran away to there.
But it's one of those signs that people talk about quite often. You see them take a photo and put it on Instagram. It's a place because nobody really. It's a weird name for a place.
I was with friends the other day who, their mother,
That's a lie, not a fact.
back in the day before technology went berserk and they'd go on holidays in the 60s in a car, then they just drive to wherever. But the mother had a famous South African book, a famous thing that you would, clever people who and their families were supposed to travel with. And every little road had a place and something historical that
wow.
happened there, and you'd get out and go and look at the little
that
memorial to
happened.
the thing. And she says, so a trip to even Kimberley took like 2 days, and from Vereeniging, so fascinating. So Douse the Glim, I'd like to believe it is named after a runaway slave who made it there.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear you say that because I made that story up as I was speaking, Ryan. As I was speaking. And you're going to be appalled at yourself. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be appalled at yourself because the true story is that a detachment of British soldiers, more specifically Scottish soldiers,
Yes!
were based there during the war, and they were told that they weren't allowed to light cooking fires for fear that they would be seen and attacked, and hence the phrase "douse the glim," which means put out the fire. Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
crazy?
Yeah. So you were within moments of
Okay.
within seconds. of-
Okay, so what you're saying is there is a place called Douse the Glim,
There's a place
and
called
it's
Douse the
named
Glim.
after those Scottish Highland soldiers.
Yeah, and about the fact that so they used to start calling it Douse the Glim because when you went there and you were stationed there on kind of leave, you weren't allowed to light any fires because of fear of that you'd be seen and attacked.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's
so
beautiful.
that's the story. Whether it's true or not
Yeah.
is another thing. But
I do know quite a bit, only because I've been on a guided tour, which took a few hours, and I read a book on the Battle of Blouberg, and there was quite a few Highlanders in the British Army. They were the main, send in the Highlanders first, and they won it for them. Really.
there you go. Oh, they're nutty bastards. Yeah. Anyway, so there you are. That's Douse the Glim. So if you're on the N7 heading north into Makwaland, now you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it is now time. Thanks for the Douse the Glim fact, but it is now time. I know you're all waiting for
For
when-
more commercials. They're putting in more commercials now, ones that you've seen 1,000 times.
Do your legs get dry in the winters? Because what you need is Vaseline intensive
Be
care.
immersed in the fat of a duck. And
Douse
put in
yourself
an oven at 180 degrees for a period of up to 3 hours.
Douse yourself with Glim dousing liquid. Yes. Georgia, the country.
Ah, the country.
Yeah,
Excellent.
the country,
Excellent.
not the state. Georgia on my mind. Oh, there's a beautiful story about that, about the song. You got to see that movie.
Americans stole a lot of weird names.
Oh,
Now that I
yeah.
think about it, the one that really strikes me is when people say Memphis. What do you think of when you hear Memphis? And then people
Well, I think, Elvis.
yeah,
Yeah, Tennessee. Hey, yeah.
right. But it's it's one of the greatest ancient cities.
Cities
It
in
was so
Egypt,
great.
eh?
Yeah,
It's
in
Egypt,
Egypt.
eh?
Yeah, and it was burnt down twice, and it was such a great city that the conquerors who burnt it down rebuilt it on 2 occasions because it was regarded so highly in the ancient world. And now we think of Elvis, which is very nice. You Americans.
Yeah. It's weird, but there is a Manchester in America and a Liverpool.
No, there's a lot in America. So this is one of my favorite things. So
The
Toronto.
Liverpool's probably bigger than the Liverpool.
Oh yeah, probably. But Toronto used to be named York, and
Ah.
New York used to be named New Amsterdam.
Yes, yes.
And in York, the city itself used to be named Iboricum, So this is like just this strange. Toronto used to be called York. I didn't know that. I did know the New
Yes.
Amsterdam, New York.
Do you know the reason for the change in name from New Amsterdam to New York?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They took over the change of government.
And they kind of swapped.
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
bargained.
yeah.
They got you want an island here in the Pacific, and we'll get that silly New Amsterdam thing. Sure. Manhattan, hey,
What a bargain. Yeah.
piece of property, eh? Buggers. Georgia. So Georgia. Yeah, so the Georgians, there's is it the Saint George where it gets its name? Some people think that it goes all the way back to Persia, Gurgulan, which is land of the wolf. Oh, that's nice, land of the wolves, Georgia. It's quite an ancient land. It is one of the world's first.
I mean, it's as old as the planet.
Yes.
You know, this is the thing about land. It's all the same. It's all the same age, Ryan.
Yeah, it's
all
like,
the same.
It's like I've got a line in my stand-up one day when I'm going to use it, where it goes, I was like, you see, the sun is hot today. Good old South African expression. No, the sun is hot every day. Yes,
Every day the sun is
the
hot.
sun is hot today. So, but the people from Georgia are Kartlivian. They call themselves Kartlivia, a certain indigenous group from Georgia. And then the Georgian chronicles were discovered written between like the 600s and the 1000s. And Kartli, according to the one Georgian chronicle, there's a Kartlos, who is the great grandson of Japheth, as in Noah's son. And the Georgian chronicles and some of the Georgians believe that that's where their Kartli, the actual name to the Kartlivians.
They come from a character from the Bible.
Well, yeah, that dude's great grandson.
So 1,000 years from now, people will be like, I live in the land of Barnabas. The great grandfather of our founder was Barney the dinosaur.
Yeah, who's going to argue? All the tapes. It was on
Like,
VHS.
what was Barney the dinosaur? He was a great warrior.
Yeah, all the VHSs are destroyed anyway.
Yeah.
What you going to do?
Yeah, he was a great warrior who was renowned for his love of you and me and everything you can see. That sounds amazing.
So is my fact true? It's they discovered the Georgian
is your
chronicles.
fact that they are named after this, or that some of them believe they're named after?
No, that the Georgian chronicles state that Kartlos is where the Kartlivians get their name from, who was the great grandson of Japheth.
I mean, you've just largely told lies this whole evening. You must have some truths in there. You must. I'm just going to stick with truth, just on a law of averages. I've got to be right 50% of the time.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
Kartlivia. Thank you. You saying it's true?
Yeah.
It is true. Some of the in the Georgian chronicles, the Georgian language is traced to it. Actually, did there's a stone tablet in Jerusalem where some Georgian priest was buried, and they know it because it's the Kartli, and it was discovered only about 20 years ago. It's in the Kartlivian Great Georgian language and,
there you
handwriting. So an ancient land, and ancient people.
Yeah.
And according
And
to
a
the
great
George...
rugby team. So.
Oh, yeah. And according to... And those singers on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
And according
the
to...
hot ones with a donkey.
Yeah, the hot ones with a
The one
donkey.
you're talking about.
It's a song
We're
called...
not creepy old men watching hot ladies with coveting their asses.
It's a song all about, come on, donkey, don't be so slow. That's what this... Yeah,
Oh, is that what the song is about?
Yeah.
I just watch it on mute. I don't. It's actually really beautiful.
Okay, so,
I'm being a boer.
So, yes, the fact is
no,
true.
hang on. I need to clarify that. I'm being a boer in the sense of
A
somebody who
farmer.
is boorish, not a farmer.
Oh.
Not a farmer. I needed to clarify that.
So yes, in the Georgian chronicles, it does state that some people believed that it traces back to Kartlos. Hey, Kartlos!
Carlos, wasn't he king of Portugal?
What do you call a Portuguese guy whose car's stolen? Carlos. What do you call a Georgian whose cart is stolen. Carlos! So, yes, they do believe that Japheth's great-grandson is where they originate, their origin from, the Cartlevians, from Cartlos.
Good. That's amazing. That's
That's
another good
crazy.
fact. Another strong fact there, right?
Crazy,
Good one.
man.
All right, I'm going with a stupid one. There's at least 10 capital cities with the same name as the country they're capital of. At least 10.
Okay. As in Panama, Panama City, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That one will count because it's just city at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder 10. There's definitely a Caribbean one.
Well, you've got one so far, so that's
Yeah.
good.
There's.
Bizarrely, you mentioned one of the countries before
Okay.
in this podcast, and I said nobody knows what the name means.
Oh. Mexico City, there you go.
Yeah, Mexico City, yeah.
I think there is a. There'll be a Caribbean one. 10. At least 10. 10.
At least 10, though. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's definitely a few, but are there 10?
Yeah. I would say. And it's their capitals, eh?
They're capitals, yeah.
Yeah.
Capital cities that are the same name as the country.
There's
And I know people out there are already going, oh, but Brasilia and Brazil. I haven't counted Brasilia,
Wow.
Brazil. I haven't counted. Brasilia is too different
Wow.
to Brazil.
Wow.
Brasilia is named after, I think, the nut tree that used to grow there.
Oh man, there's definitely a African one.
I mean, you're like, oh, there's one in this giant part of the world, and there's one in this other giant part of the world.
Yeah.
One of those 50-odd countries, they must have a capital the same name.
And I'm actually gonna. Well, after all is said and done, I'm gonna say there's not 10. I'm gonna say there's not 10. So it's a lie. There's a few, but not 10.
Okay. It's unfortunate because there are 10 at least. So I did a thing. And I'm only saying there's 10 at least because I did a thing where I went and I looked at a map and then I was like, okay, how many of these can I count? So then what I came up with was the following. Djibouti City.
Oh.
Guatemala City.
Okay.
Kuwait City.
Yes.
Luxembourg
Oh,
City.
jeez.
Mexico City. Monaco.
Oh.
Panama City. San Marino.
Ah.
Singapore.
Yes, I know.
Vatican City. Now,
Oh.
Vatican City, you might be able to argue with me about because is it a city? Is it like a
It's
part of
recognised
the
as a
Holy
country,
See?
eh? It's
Yeah, is
recognised
it a
as a
country?
country.
Yeah, it's all kind of questionable. But if you don't give me Vatican City, I've got a bonus, which is Andorra la Vella. The capital's called Andorra la Vella, but Andorra la Vella translates to Andorra the town, just to discriminate it between Andorra the country and Andorra the town.
It's on the
So-
border of Spain there, hey?
So Andorra la Vella should count. But then there's a bunch that are kind of close, right? There's Algiers.
Yes.
Brazil, Brasilia.
Yes.
Guinea-Bissau.
Nice.
Then there's Sao Tome and Principe, where the capital is Sao Tome.
Oh,
Tunisia is Tunis.
Tunis. Nice.
Obviously. And then, because it's becoming a theme of this particular podcast, El Salvador's capital is San Salvador.
Ah, isn't that lovely?
Yeah, so there you are.
That's possibly one of the first places where. Oh, no. It's in the movie 1492. Where's the first place that Columbus lands? And he calls it. It's something San Salvador, I think.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But
But
maybe
he
it's-
never lands in America.
Ah, poor
Yeah, or
bastard. eh?
Columbus, yeah. But if you guys can think of extra ones, please put them down
That's
because
a lovely
I really
fact.
did. I really did spend quite a bit of time looking at countries and trying to make sure that I could compile a list of them. But yeah, so I've got 10, at least, perhaps 11 if you give me Andorra la Vella, and don't take away Vatican City. But yeah, yeah, they're in there.
Well, we've come to multiple choice time.
Mm.
And this is a lovely one. It's about what does Argentina mean?
Oh shit!
Is it land of the sun, land of gold, land of silver, or land of the Argentos people?
I see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why would you call it Land of the Sun? I suppose it is in the east edge of the continent. So it would be the edge where the sun is kind of coming up, I guess, in a way. But Brazil really does kind of dominate that whole thing. So I suppose, yeah, could be that. Land of Gold. I feel like you're trying to like lure me in with the City of Gold prospect, which I think was more Colombia, Panama, Chile. I think they were more known to be the lands of gold. So yeah, but maybe you're trying to lure some settlers down to your new giant settlement of of Argentina, and you need a bunch of people, and then all you'll end up getting is Nazis. And then you said the land of the Argentos people, which if you honestly, like, that's the cleverest thing in the whole world, to make it that obvious, to kind of dangle it out with like uh like it's like taking your dick out in a crotch kicking competition. And what was the other one? Land of silver. Land of silver. Yeah, let's go Land of silver, I think. Although they've got a sun on their flag. Land of Silver. I'm going with Land of Silver. I'm sticking with the original, please. Although they say you should always change, if you got the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going with Land of Silver.
So then I will give you the option. What is your final answer?
Oh, so that I must swap it. Is that what you say? Like I must swap it behind door number 2. Oh man, they've got an actual sun on their flag. That's confused me.
Yeah. So land of the rising sun, land of gold, land of silver,
Land of rising sun. No.
Well, sun. Not the
So,
right,
I
because
mean-
Japan is also the
Yeah, that's also Mpumalanga.
yeah.
means that.
Mpumalanga.
In fact, Mpumalanga, my favorite thing about them was when the national government decided to name a province after Mpumalanga. The town called Mpumalanga in KwaZulu-Natal got deeply pissed off. They were like, this is our name. People are going to get confused. They're going to be wanting to come to visit our town, and they are going to go to this whole province. And the national government was like, that's ridiculous. Nobody comes to your town. Shame. Anyway,
Stop it, you
Yeah.
15 residents.
yeah. Okay, land of silver, but I'm nervous.
Well, you're a bugger. It absolutely is the land of silver.
Wonderful.
Yes, they have a sun on their flag. And here's another little fun fact about the origin of the name Argentina. Is it's actually, when I know the Romance languages are similar, but it's more Italian. And also and I'll tell you a nice little Italian tidbit about it. You know what the periodic table's element for silver is?
No. It's
So gold was AU,
AU is gold, yeah.
and
so,
silver
I don't
it's
know.
actually it is AG, am I
Oh,
right?
is it
Not
AG?
AR, that's argon. AG, argento. So argento means silver in Italian. And what's lovely is, like, what I recommend to people, I haven't done this myself, but if you want to learn a language, I'm sure a good way to do it is the songs. So Santa Lucia, lovely Italian song, it starts out Sul mare luccica, l'astro d'argento. So the sul mare luccica means the sea, mare. Luccica, I forgot, I don't have the English translation here. Luccica means dazzling. So it means the dazzling sea, sul mare luccica. And then l'astro d'argento means of silvery stars. L'astro is an astro, d'argento, silver.
Nice.
Yeah, so
nice. What a fantastic fact. That's
yeah,
great.
kind of more Italianish than Spanish. Argentina, land of
Interesting.
silver.
Yeah, and then so many Germans live there. So many Germans.
With the silver, which
Yeah,
they stole
with the
from
silver.
Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Mine's a different one. Very kind of different, and mine's quite a simple one. Which of these is the odd one out? Again? Right? Is it Manchester in England? Titties Bay in South Africa? Three Sisters in South Africa? Or Twin Peaks in San Francisco, USA?
That's
Oh, hang
fascinating.
on, no, I've got a fifth one if you
Oh,
want. Here's a bonus
odd
one.
one out. eh?
Yeah, Mumbles Islands in Wales. So there's 5 of them.
That
There's-
is so odd,
There's
man. That's
Manchester,
got such a-
England, Titties Bay in South Africa. And you must remember it's about the name, right? Three Sisters in South Africa, Twin Peaks, San Francisco, and Mumbles Islands in Wales.
Mumbles is the only one that doesn't have a T. Maybe it's that. Is it that simple? No, I'm joking. Wait, let's just
Yeah,
think
no,
about it.
Manchester's got a very much an aside T.
Titties by Mumbles, Manchester.
Twin
Eh,
Peaks, Three Sisters.
I know
just-
the only one I've been to is Three Sisters.
So think about what it was
I can go
potentially
there.
named after. You may be able to work it out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's about the name, right? That's what the theme of this thing
the
is.
copy, eh? Titis. Twin P. Look at him. Look at him laughing. Three Sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used
So
to.
Manchester, England, TT Spy, South Africa, Three Sisters, Twin Peaks, San Francisco, and Mumbles Islands in Wales.
I had a joke
which is
about
the odd
Three
one out.
Sisters once. Shouldn't it be 1.5 sisters? Oh my golly. Because it's a shame. And Chester, Manchester, chest, titties, Twin Peaks, and then Mumbles.
Islands in Wales.
So is
yeah.
Mumbles named after some girls?
Well, look, you're on the right track
He's
here,
like-
right? You're on the
Yes.
right track.
Did you know that joke, that South African comedian? Oh, you know, like, so a guy goes to, he goes, you wait here, I'm going to get some drinks from the bar. Okay, he says to his wife. And then while he goes get some drinks from the bar, then a guy approaches his wife and says, oh, you know what I'd like to do to you? What, you dirty man? I'd like to put my head between your tits and go. So, and he says, oh, you're a dirty man. And then it must carry on telling the joke.
Yes, you must now. You must finish this
And he's
freaking
like,
old.
"Oh, you're a dirty man. And then you know what I like to do to you? No, what? I like to turn you upside down, fill your fanny full of Guinness and drink it all up. Peter,
Oh,
I forget his name.
telling you to plow on
forget-
with this joke now.
Peter was his name. He used to tell this joke. And there's, oh, you dirty man. You dirty man. This is a terrible joke, and it's Women's Day. Oh, my God. And so then the husband comes back, and he says, you know what just happened? That man came up to me, and you know what he said? What did he say? So he says he likes to put his head between my tits and go. He said, oh, I'm show him. And he takes his jacket off, starts rolling up his sleeve. And then you know what he said he'd do to me? What did he say? He said, you're going to turn me up. Turn me upside down, fill me fanny full of Guinness and drink it all up. He says, all right, then, just a second. Rolls his sleeves down, puts his... Aren't you going to go up to him and hit him? Oh, no. Any man that can hold 12 pints of Guinness is much too much for me. Something like that.
I mean, I regret asking you to tell it.
Sorry,
I really do.
but
No, it's a good joke.
it
It's a
was-
good joke. I mean, the Yorkshire accent really makes it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm not
something
sure.
like
I'm
that.
not sure it's a.
So Mumbles, maybe he's like,
yeah,
oh,
Mumbles.
Mumble Island, that's where we like
Mumble
to go
Island,
and do. So maybe it's named after the girl that I like to put my head between your tits. I don't, I didn't know that was a thing. It doesn't matter. Mumbles, titties by Twin Peaks.
Three Sisters and Manchester in England. Yeah.
Oh my golly, which is the odd one out? Probably titties. It's probably just someone's name. The rest is all about breasts or girls. Named after girl. No, Manchester's not named after a girl. It's Manchester. The rest all named after women and their some bosoms.
This is your final answer.
Yeah, Manchester is something else, but the rest are all about Sheilas and their bosoms.
So it turns out Manchester in England, the name comes from mammutium, which is Latin for a breast, like as in mammary, because it was named after a breast-like hill in the area. So the name Manchester, the city of Manchester, is in fact named after a woman's chest, as is Mumbles Islands in Wales, as is Twin Peaks in San Francisco, whose original name was actually Los Pechos de la Chora, or Breasts of the Indian Maiden, and they dialed it down by calling it Twin Peaks.
Oh, I like it.
And then-
Los Pesches de la
Yeah,
Torre.
and then Three Sisters, obviously named after the
There are-
three hills that look breast-like in the
Totally.
area. So yeah.
Yeah.
And the odd one out is ironically Titi Spy, which again you hit on the thing. You hit on the
It's still
thing.
someone's
It's
name.
yeah. I mean, you'd think it's actually named Boobs Bay, but it's named after a guy called
Jan-
Jacques Titus,
Jan
Titus,
Titis, okay.
who was a trader in the area. So there you are. Yeah, it's actually Jacques Titus. So Titi Spy, like a lot of people are like, oh, there's these big round boulders at the entrance. They're like, oh, it's named after the big round boulders at the. It's not. It's named after a guy. Yeah. So Three Sisters though.
Hey!
Hey, Three Sisters! All four of you who live there, we're watching you. But yeah, every one of the others is named after a woman's chest. We're filthy. We're
Yeah,
all filthy
totally.
as humans.
Totally.
But you know, like there's been this trend where these things that used to have these rude names are now being kind of like dumbed down. Like in America, there were this mountain range which quite clearly two huge memory-sized mountains, and they used to be called like Maggie's Knockers or something. and now they call them the Maggies. You know, it's this attempt to kind of and there's one called like Dog Cock Point. where they now just call it the dogs. Like we're trying to, remove all the rudeness from these names. But actually, there's quite a lot of these things were named after.
That is very
Yeah.
funny. Well, I mean, the peace treaty of the Second South African War was signed in, and I think that was, the Boers having a go at the British because getting a British to try and say, peace treaty of in Parliament, we're happy to announce that the war's come to an end and the peace treaty of
To be fair, I mean, that is the exact reason they renamed Port Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
So that white people were like, oh, no, we can't say, because I'm practicing the new name of that thing. I'm terrible at it now, but I'm getting better.
And
I hate myself sometimes.
on that lovely note, thanks to our sponsors, Twin Saver and
Whoever else,
Lux.
whatever other videos you saw while you
And-
were watching this.
Thanks for joining us. That was fun.
Yeah.
Ended up being a fun episode. Well done, Deets.
Yeah.
Thanks for brainstorming on our behalf.
We'll catch you guys next week. Please tell your friends, like, subscribe. We're not
Yes.
asking you for money. We'll pay for this motherfucker by ourselves.
Yeah, shame. Isn't she
Yeah.
lovely?
Good night.
Ciao. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. Like a dub from
Bye.
Bye. Bye.